The Arizona podcast is brought to you by Triumph Protective Coatings. They specialize in concrete polish, epoxy flooring systems, micro top floors and walls, and self-leveling underlays. They service all of California, and they are an awesome company. They speak Spanish, and they do amazing work. Check them out at Triumph_coatings on Instagram. And if you use the promo code ARROWSUP, you get 10% off. So check them out. On this episode, Solo Pod, NBA, we are 12 days away from the NBA season finishing. So we'll do that. I'm starting to drink the Red Sox Kool-Aid. I know it's against the A's. I know they beat the A's. I know they beat the Mariners. I get it. I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid. So I'll hit some of that. And I think that's it. Champions League comes back next week, but we'll save that for next week, I think. That's it. NBA pod today. Here we go. All right. We are exactly 12 days from the end of the regular season in the NBA. And 81 games, 82 games, not 81. 82 games comes and goes. And when the season first starts, it always feels like forever. It's almost like the calendar year. You go through December and you finish December, you think, man, that's the end of the year. But then you start January and you think, oh my God, it's only January. And then you blink and it's June and you're like, what happened? And you blink again and it's September. And next thing you know, it's December. And it's January again. And in between is the process, It's the road that decides the year. And that's how it is. It feels like that in baseball and in basketball because the seasons are so long. And in the NBA, we've had a very interesting season. I think that the biggest thing we've seen in the NBA this year in terms of the biggest storylines, it's Jokic is the prohibited best player in the NBA. Number one. Number two, it's Giannis and Luka in whatever order. And that's been, I think, the biggest revelation of this season. That the top three players in the NBA are all foreign players. And we're definitely in a new era of basketball. And the NBA is going to have to find a way to sell the game to an American audience that needs a guy. They need it, absolutely. And it could be Ant, Ant probably will be the guy that is the American superstar. But can you imagine 5 years ago, 6 years ago, someone saying, we're entering the era in the NBA where the best players in the NBA are not American? That would have been almost weird to say. And I think we're going to start seeing that on the world stage as the U.S. has gotten so used to dominating the Olympics. And I think we're going to enter into a different era in terms of Olympic basketball as well. But in terms of the association, let's start in the East. And I'll give you a little run through as we have just a few games left, and it's becoming just kind of like the race. There's like the Lakers, for example, 6 games left in their schedule. That's it, 6 games, and that's it. The Celtics, 6 games, 7 games. So everyone has 6 to 7 games left in the regular season. But let's start in the East. In the East, the Celtics running away with the number 1 seed, 59-16, best record in the entire association. They will have home court throughout the playoffs, and if they were to make the finals, they would have home court there too, which is huge for a team like the Celtics that have a great home court. And as great as the Celtics have been this season, and as amazing as that lineup is, and I've said it over and over again that if Porzingis is healthy, then that's my pick to get out of the East. It leaves you cold. Well, it leaves me cold, at least, when I think of their chances of winning the finals. And it's weird to say that with the team, for a team that has the best record in the entire league. They're going to win 60-plus games. They're 32-3 at home, 27-13 on the road. They're 8-2 in their last 10. But there's just games that just leave you cold. There was a game, when was it? March 25th. They're up by 30. And they go up by 30 versus the Hawks. And they choke that game away. And you're like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? Like, what's happened? We're like, what happened? And then they played them again. And they played them again on Thursday. And they lost. And you would think the Celtics were going to come into that game just ready to run those guys off the court. And kind of be like, you know what? What happened the last game? No way. We're gonna beat you guys. We're gonna beat the brakes off of you guys. And that didn't happen. It was so weird. Just that performance. And so things like that just leave you cold. The games versus the Nuggets that just leave you just thinking like, yeah, this is why I don't think they can win the finals. Because when things get tough and when things are going to be, when you're going to need to make a play late, they just don't have the offensive efficiency and execution to create great play after great play. And that kind of stuff leaves you like, yeah, I don't know if they can do it. And so the Celtics, they're still my pick to get out of the East. I still think they're going to do that. But for a team that's the number 1 seed, it's just like, like they'll make the finals and then they'll lose to Denver. And that's kind of how I feel. And it's weird for a team that's going to win 60-plus games. It's just weird. They ran away in the regular season with the best record. And it's not always the case. It's not always the case that this happens, because typically if we're looking at numbers and you say, well, this team has won 59 games. They're 12 games ahead of the second best team. That was best record in the entire league. One of the best offenses and lineups there, you could have. Balanced, well-balanced, up and down that lineup. Great home court. They've only lost 3 games at home. you think, oh man, juggernaut. And you look at this team and you say, yeah. And it's just so weird. It's such a weird feeling that this leaves you cold. And but that's where we're at. That's where we're at with these Celtics. Milwaukee has been playing better of late. Their defense has been better. Doc Rivers has kind of implemented a defense that works for them. Dame Lillard is good. He's not like Portland Dame Lillard anymore, but he's good. Giannis is, like I said, the top, like maybe top 2 player in the NBA, depending on your list. He can't be, he really can't be lower than that, because if he's lower than that, then you're not really watching basketball, to be honest with you. But that's kind of where we're at with him there, and so it's just strange. It's a strange thing, because you think of someone like a Giannis, someone like the Milwaukee Bucks, and you think this team should be higher on everyone's list, just because of those 2 guys, that they should have enough to beat the Celtics. But in the playoffs, in every playoffs, but specifically in the NBA playoffs, the thing that you are the worst at is the one thing that gets exposed over and over and over again. And I just don't know how they're gonna be able to get away from hiding Damian Lillard. And I think every team's going to go hunting for Damian Lillard play after play after play in the playoffs. And that's a huge red flag for me, because how are you going to limit that? How are you going to hide him? And unless your plan is to outscore everyone, which sounds good in theory, and it's why someone like a team like the Phoenix Suns, they're not a viable choice to win the West, because you need to defend. You need stops in the playoffs. It's just the way it is. And the Bucks' weakness is super glaring. Super glaring. It's like that episode of in Seinfeld when it's the sweater's cashmere. It's a cashmere sweater, but there's a red dot, and that's what it is. It's you have this nice sweater and it's a white coat, or it's a white shirt and it's super nice. But if there's a small little stain, it's a stain, and it can be really nice, but it's a stain. That's what it is. And that's really it. I mean, if we want to go through, everybody else, the Cavs, the Magic, the Knicks, I think those teams are a lot of fun, and they might produce good moments. The Knicks, the stuff coming out from OG and Randall, that they might not be back, and Mitchell Robinson, that just makes me not want to pick them. They just won't have their dudes. Orlando's too young. Cleveland, I just don't believe in them. I just don't believe that they can do it. I just don't. And then everybody else, the Pacers, fun, but not good enough. The Heat, they're just not as good this season. I like the roster more, but they're just not as good. And I just don't think we're going to see the same run from them last year as we did last year. Embiid and the Sixers, they're probably going to be in the playing game. And I just don't trust Embiid in the playoffs, right? I just don't, I got to see it to believe it. And I guess you can make the argument that it's going to be good because he's going to play, a full playoffs because he's going to be fresh and he missed a lot of time and he's not going to be so tired. But he's just never in shape, and I think that has as much to do with him not being able to perform in the highest levels in the playoffs. He came back today from his injury, 24, 7, 6, 29 minutes. He looked okay. He looked pretty good. And Joel Embiid is a great player. He had a great season, and we forget how awesome he was in the beginning of the season. But I also can't forget how bad he is in the playoffs, and I just don't trust it. And in the West, we get the Nuggets, who are, like I've been saying, just the prohibitive favorites. And it's almost unfair to really talk up anybody else. I do think, just as a Laker fan, that if you're the Lakers, you probably want to face them early. Like, the Lakers probably want to face them in the first round just to get them before they get rolling. Because I think if we play them in the Western Conference Finals, I think it's just that they'll be too much. They'll be rolling too much momentum. And I think the key for the Lakers is putting AD on Jokic, which I know AD doesn't like. I know he doesn't like to play the 5. But if we're going to beat Jokic and we're going to beat the Nuggets, that's the only way that's going to happen. And that's just the way it is. No other way around it. The Rockets are in a chase for the Warriors for the 10th seed. They lost today. The Warriors won today, so that didn't help the Rockets, as the Rockets need just a free fall from the Warriors, and I just don't see that happening. The Lakers are the 9th seed, and they're trying to capture the Suns as they're a game out in the win column, 2 games out in the loss column. And it's the same thing with the Kings. The Kings Suns have the same record. So there's a chance the Lakers get to the 7th or 8th seed, which is where they want to go, so that they play they only have to win 1 game and they're in the playoffs. The dark horse is the Dallas Mavericks, because they have Luka and they have balance on that team. And him and Luka and Kyrie, this is the best they've looked together. And they work so well together now, and they have their chemistry there, and they play enough defense to win. And I think it's the only team that can go toe-to-toe with the Nuggets, because if it comes down to late game execution, there's nobody else that I would trust to produce good play, good scoring opportunity after good scoring opportunity than Luka. If you're going against Jokic, Luka and Kyrie, I would trust more than anybody else besides Jokic to produce good possession after good possession down the stretch. And so that's where we're at. That's where we're at with the NBA. And I think that the biggest subplot has been how great Wemby has been, because Wemby was hyped to be the next great thing, and I think he's going to deliver. He's done things that you're just like, who the hell is this guy? Where did he come from? He had a block today on Jokic, where Jokic got by him, and he thought, oh, I got him. Nope. And he blocked him. So Wemby is going to be just incredible. Incredible. And so he's going to be just a monster to deal with. And San Antonio is probably going to be in the playoff conversation next year if the Spurs are smart and build around him now and realize we got to be in win now mode. We got a guy. We got one of the guys. because he might be the guy that overtakes Jokic as the best player in basketball. He's going to be that good, man. Hopefully he stays injury free. But he's a beast. He's such a beast. I think it's one of the things that's stood out to me as I've watched basketball is just the variation in teams. And sometimes in the NBA, throughout NBA history, you've gotten teams that adapt to the winner. So, for example, when Shaq and Kobe in the early 2000s were dominating, everybody wanted a center. You needed like 3 centers just for fouls purposes to throw at Shaq. And then the league changed a little bit after that. And then kind of went to like, it was the Spurs, so you kind of needed a system, and it was like a system based. And you started to see like this different teams try to run the systems, and then you got to like the 7 seconds or less with Phoenix, and that kind of became a thing where everybody's running up and down. And then LeBron came, and then it became like the era of the super team, and everybody was trying to make their own super team. Everyone had a big 3, and you had to get a big 3, and whose big 3 was better than whose big 3, and that became a thing. And then it became shooting and spacing, and everybody was shooting 3s, and you wanted to get 3-point shooters, and that became the thing. And now we're in a place where there's just different styles. You look around the league, and you get teams like the Celtics who are big, but they're not like bruising. They're just long and athletic, and they can shoot and all that, but they don't have that bruiser inside. And it's almost like Porzingis works as the guy who's going to limit you because he can block shots in the middle. And then you get someone like the T-Wolves who are just giants, and they're just like, they have size all over the place, and they got just legitimate like 6'10" and up size across the board, and they're just huge, and they just clog up the paint and remove the spacing, and they do that. And then you get a team like the Thunder and the Clippers who are not big, and they're just all athleticism, and so it's just so interesting that the different types of games that we're seeing and the different types of product we're seeing in the NBA, where every team has the great thing that they do, or at least any team that's competing, and they have like that glaring, just the neon sign weakness, like the Thunder. Like I gave you the Bucks with the Celtics. It's just late game management of just creating good possession after good possession. They just don't have it, and it's just so glaring how bad they are at that you're just like, man, if the game is close with like 3 minutes to play, I don't trust you guys to have good possession after good possession to win a close game. I just don't. The Thunder, great story. They're 52-23. They're half a game out of the number 1 seed, but they're so small. They're tiny. And it's just, the same thing with the Clippers. And it's just so interesting, just that the dynamic that you see with these teams this season, that I haven't seen that much variable in the game in such a long time. And that's going to make for either really, really good matchups in the playoffs, where if we get like Clippers Thunder, that's going to be super, super fun, because just the matchups, the going back and forth and all that, extremely fun. But then if you get like Lakers Thunder, it's not as fun, because the Lakers are just so much bigger than them, and you can see how that would turn out. A lot like Memphis Lakers last year. And so it's just so interesting how all these things will play out. All these things will be put on display. It's like Warriors Thunder would be probably like the most insane and the funniest series that we could get in the playoffs. Just because they match up really well. A lot of shooting, up and down. Not a lot of defense being played in that series. And that would just be great. Where Nuggets T-Wolves would be just this like bruising, because both teams are big. And so that all like it just these matchups that we're gonna see in the playoffs are gonna gonna give us really good results for us as fans. But also it's really gonna put on display the idea that styles make fights. And you can sometimes look really, really good because the opponent you play, and you can look really, really bad because the opponent you play. And it's just the way it goes. Like a team like the Pelicans that have a good team, they have a lot of depth, and it's like, man, they can make the West Finals if they avoid the Nuggets in the first two rounds. And that's just like very specific to them, where someone like the Clippers or the Mavs would probably want to play the Nuggets just because they could probably match up really well against them. And that's just like the whole dynamic. And then you throw like the monkey wrench of a player like Luka who can like go off against anybody. And if they play the Clippers, that just, even though they have the defenders to throw at Luka just like loves playing against the Clippers. And then you get like Jokic, who's like the monkey wrench for any team. And even if he were to play the T-Wolves or the Lakers, it's like, well, Jokic is just that cheat code for everybody. And on the other side, Giannis is that cheat code for the Bucks, and Porzingis is the wild card for the Celtics. That if Porzingis is playing and he's playing good, the Celtics are or appear to be unbeatable. And that's just the way, these things work. And then on the other side, if the Lakers are playing, if AD's playing the defense he's been playing all year, and LeBron, he's going to play better defense in the playoffs, all of a sudden the Lakers become a very formidable team. And this is where you can, like last year, you can look up and they're like, man, they're in the West Finals? How did this happen? And so all these things are very possible. And so I love where we're at with the NBA. Love it in terms of the styles, in terms of the competition, in terms of all of it. We're in a really good place. So as fans, we're the winners in all of this. So that's where we're at with the NBA. We have 12 games left, 12 days left, 6 to 7 games left. And then it's playoff time. So, exciting times. Final thought. This is my final thought. Being a fan is awesome. Following sports and being a fan of sports is awesome. And you know what I don't like? I don't like the too cool for school fan. Oh, yeah, I like them, but yeah, it's not that serious, bro. And it's like, do you get excited for anything? Can you get excited for anything? Like, can you show some excitement? And so, for the Red Sox, and you follow me on Twitter, I'm very vocal about the Mookie trade. And it's almost like people say, get over it. It's been like, 5 years or so, 6 years? And it's one of those things like the more I see Mookie Betts, like he hit another home run today. He's like on the tear. The more mad I get. I'll never get over the Mookie Betts trade. Never. Now, the Red Sox this season have been surprisingly not too bad. Now, I know. It's Mariners and A's, but hear me out. Hear me out. Please hear me out. The Red Sox would have lost the 5-4 game today, the game they won in extras. Just we would have lost that one. No doubt. We would have lost it. Would have lost the 6-4 game. We would have lost the 1-0 game by a lot more than 1-0. The pitching is a lot better than last year. The offense is whatever, but I think we're still going to finish last. I still think that. I just think this team is going to be more likable than what I thought. So I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I love being a fan. And if you follow your sports team, you should be passionate and you should be excited and you should get happy when they win, sad when they lose. And you should just enjoy that, experience that. Feeling the emotions is good. And it's a good thing to feel it. And so, yeah, that's my final thought. Let fans be fans. And if they want to get really happy when they win and really down when they lose, let them be. Just let them be. It's great. It's great to be passionate about something. And so that's where we're at. And that's it. NBA, MLB. Lakers won today. Big win. Bronny. The report is he's going to join the transfer portal. So much for him joining the NBA draft, huh? So we'll see. We'll see what happens with all that. That's where we're at. That's it. That's the episode. That's the pod. I will talk to you again on Thursday. So, till then, see you later. That's the pod. We are brought to you by, as always, Triumph Protective Coatings. They specialize in concrete polish, epoxy flooring systems, micro top floors and walls, and self-leveling underlays. They service California, and they speak Spanish. You can follow them, Triumph_coatings on Instagram, and you get a 10% off if you use the promo code ArrowsUp. You can also reach them on Gmail, triumphprotectivecoatings@gmail.com. That's the pod. Thank you, Angel, for the music. You can follow the Arrows Up podcast at Arrows Up on Instagram. And you can listen to our pod anywhere you get pods. So please rate, review, and subscribe. I will talk to you again on Thursday and again on Sunday. So until then, I will talk to you later. Let's go, Lakers.